this is what I had to come home to. Holes in the wall. Holes in the walls. One time I came home from school and there was a shoe in the wall.
Don't tell him whose it was.
Okay, so 8 years old, and then this whole mama thing happened. Mama comes home from across the street and she's glowing. She's like, ah, I love everybody. Everybody's me. Ah, I love you. And I'm like, whoa, what's got into mama? And then me and Papa are sitting watching wrestling, you know, just having a good old time, doing what we always do, watching wrestling. Mama comes in, she's like, turn it off! And we're looking at her like she's insane, like she's not, like something's wrong in her head. Like, what's wrong with her? And so one by one, then Papa got born again. So then here's me, the 8-year-old kid that had everything growing up. I was that kid that was spoiled. I had 2 rooms. I had my bedroom and I had a playroom where my video games were and all my toys. I had 2 rooms. I don't know how many people had 2 rooms growing up, but I feel like I was pretty spoiled. And then the TV went. They were like, oh, we can't watch the TV anymore because it's full of sin. And I couldn't play my video games anymore. And growing up, I was like, this is terrible. Why did they ever get born again? Why couldn't they just be like everybody else? And I can play video games, and I can watch TV, and I can go to public school. They pulled me out of public school, too. Now I'm homeschooled. Dragging me to church every Sunday. Had to sit there, torturous through the preaching, just so you could go and get bagels and cream cheese after. That was my life of being a Christian, because I hated every second of it. I might have believed in God for a little while, but I wanted to do what I wanted to do. I didn't want to follow Jesus. I wanted to watch TV. I wanted to be violent. If somebody said something to me that made me angry, I wanted to punch him in the face. And that's not Christian. So I was like, this is stupid. Who's gonna do this? Who wants to do this? This is ridiculous. It makes no sense. So when I got older and I left, I did what I wanted to do. That's what I did. I went out, and first thing I did is I bought a video game system. And I started playing video games like a madman. Watching TV. Everything I wasn't allowed to do growing up, that's what I did. Then one thing led to another. Smoking cigarettes, drinking alcohol. Next thing you know, I'm doing drugs. And one thing leads to another, then I'm shooting drugs into my arm. I did what I wanted to do. You know why? Because it felt good. I'm not gonna lie. It feels good for a while, and then it feels terrible, horrible, because it catches up with you. And I'm here to say that what happened to me was, when I first left, my parents instilled things in me, like responsibility and good work ethic. Things you don't see nowadays in people our ages. And I got out and I did well. I did wonderful. I'm 20 years old, I closed on my first house. I had a brand new 2014 Nissan Frontier 4x4. I used to take it out mudding all the time. I loved it. But one thing led to another, and the car got repossessed. Then my truck got repossessed. Then, instead of letting my house get foreclosed on, I decided, well, I might as well sell that before things get worse. Next thing you know, I'm living in an RV, trying to make as little money, trying to pay as little money as I could, so I could spend the rest on drugs. That was my life. So like, let me think, $300 a month. Water wasn't included. Electric was included. $300 a month. Boom. Then I got all this money to spend on drugs. Only one problem. I started losing my jobs, and I started getting fired because I was doing what I wanted to do. And then I lost the camper too, because I couldn't pay that $300 a month. And I went to jail for 3 days. It wasn't a long time, but it was enough for me to find out that I don't want to go there again. It's a terrible place. Ain't that right, Jason? But Jason there, my buddy, he took me under his wing. He always made sure I had a place to sit whenever it's chow time. And then I begged my parents to come get me out of there. Tears coming down. I'm like, I don't want to be here. Please come get me out. Please. and I'll never forget. They were like, well, you know, we're going to go talk to the bail bondsman and see what he says tomorrow. I was like, tomorrow? No. I don't want to spend another night in here. So they came, bailed me out, and I stayed here. I don't remember how long it was. A month? About a month. And then they helped me get my camper in a campground and got me all set up. Didn't last long, once again, because I was doing what I wanted. So now I'm homeless. I got nowhere to live. But I did something that I wasn't supposed to do involving my little brother. So I couldn't come back here. So now I'm on my own in the streets doing drugs. That's what I wanted to do. Now I lost everything. What's left to live for? I lost my house. I lost my cars. Everything I worked my whole life for. I lost it. It was gone. So what do I have to look forward to? What do I have to live for? The only thing that I wanted to do was get high. Because when you get high, you're not thinking about your problems. That pain and that heartbreak, that everything, that it's just not there anymore. It numbs you. So then I realized that this ain't working out so well for me. So I called my parents and I'm like, listen, I'm sorry for everything. I don't want to do drugs anymore. Because to be quite honest with you, a lot of people that do drugs don't want to do drugs. It's a bondage. Once you start, it's extremely hard to stop. So I told them I didn't want to do it anymore. And so they took me back. And I was here for 2 weeks. And let me tell you, those were the 2 weeks from hell. Because every word that came out of my parents' mouths, I argued with them. I said, no, that's not how it is. And I hated God. I hated God. I despised anything to do with Jesus. As soon as I heard his name, it was like, you are ludicrous. I wasn't an atheist per se, but I was a post-agnostic, which means that I believe that God created the world, but I believe that God didn't give two hoots about what happened on this earth. That was my belief. So it didn't matter to me. I was in with the atheist. I lived like an atheist, but I believe that my belief was a post-agnostic, technically. So whenever somebody would bring up Jesus or God or anything, I would be like, you are stupid. You are a moron. You're weak-minded. You don't know what you're talking about. There ain't no God. If God is on vacation, took a long vacation, he ain't coming back. And then my parents were like, this isn't working. With your views and your philosophy, in our household, we're trying to raise our children in the way of God. It's just not working. And so they drove me all the way out to Bellevue and paid for me to stay in the Vin Mall for a night, which is a very low-level hotel. And so I'm staying in the Vin Mall, and I'm sitting there all alone by myself. I have nobody out there that cares about me. Nobody out there that's going to do anything. Because they're too busy worried about themselves to worry about anybody else, just like I was. It was all me, I. And I had nowhere to go. When I had to check out in the morning at 10, I didn't know what I was going to do. I had nowhere to go, no job, no money, no car, no nothing. So I was just sitting there listening to the radio. And I accidentally turned the radio to the Christian station. This is where it gets absolutely insanely crazy. Accidentally turned to the Christian radio station, and this is what I heard. Just the tail end of it, because I wasn't listening. I was in my head thinking about, I gotta, hustle. I gotta get up money this, and I gotta make my money back that I spent on this. And then I just hear the tail end of it. All I hear is, all I heard was, you need to alter your course, because I'm a battleship. But the lighthouse quickly responded, but I'm a lighthouse. And I'm sitting there in that hotel room all by myself in the middle of the night, and I'm like, it hit me. It hit me so hard. It hit me harder than a freight train. It was like, whoa, God, if you are real, if you're really real, that was the thing for me. If you're really real, then you are all that matters. Then what else matters? Whether we have a house, or we have land, or we have money in our pockets, or we have a family, or we have whatever. What matters? If when you die, we're all going to die. Nobody can refute that. When you die, you're going to stand before this God. And he's going to be like, so, did you like that house you had? Did you like that money you had? It's like, how come you didn't serve me? How come, what about, it was all about you. What about me? I created you. And this is what was going through my head. And I was like, wow. It is, so I started crying out to God. And I was just like, God, I don't want to do what I want to do anymore. I don't want to smoke cigarettes anymore. I don't want to do drugs anymore. I didn't want none of it. I said, you know what? Whatever I want, if I want it, get rid of it. I said, I don't want it. I want whatever your plan is for me, that's what I want to do. And then I was sitting there, and I was so low, as low as I've ever been, so humbled, and so crying out. And right at the end, I was like, please don't let me go through all this and nothing happened. Because in my raising up Christian, the big reason why I walked away from it was because I talked to God all the time. God, what's this born again thing? What's this born again thing you talk about all the time? Ooh, born again. All things pass away. All things become new. I didn't see it. Never happened to me. How come it won't happen to me? You know why it didn't happen to me? Because I didn't let go of what I wanted. I didn't let go of my life. I still was clinging on to what I wanted. And if you don't let go of what you want, what your goals are, what your desires are, if you don't let go of them, then if you don't let go of your steering wheel in your car, how is Jesus going to come and take it? If you're holding on to it, you got to let go. You got to take that step into the unknown. And it took 25 years of my miserable life for God to finally get me to the place where I was able to let go of everything. And when I let go of everything, I was there and I was like, please God, don't let me go through all this for nothing. And I got so angry. Like my whole body was shaking. And I was like, like heartbreak and pain overcame me. Like, man, nothing. I'm like, I can't give anything else up. I was like, this is it. And then a song popped into my head that I heard on the radio. And that song was this: power in the name of Jesus. So now I'm walking back and forth in my hotel room like this, and I'm like, Jesus, come. Jesus, I need you to come to me. Jesus, I made a mess of my life, and I got nowhere to turn, and I don't know how to fix it. Jesus. And then I heard the radio was playing the whole time, and I heard on the radio the song. It said, what my Jesus does for me makes me feel alive. So I'm smoking a cigarette this whole time, and I sat on the bed, and I'm listening to this song, and I'm thinking about it. And I'm like, it makes me feel alive. I'm like, that would be nice to feel alive. And then as soon as I lift that cigarette up to my lips, that instant, the table over by the door, I heard a slap like a palm. Bam! And I got scared. I got really scared. And I looked, because I thought somebody came in my room. I thought somebody was coming in to rob me or something. Because it was a palm slap on the table. And I look over there and I don't see anybody. There's nobody there. But I didn't see anybody with these two eyes, these physical eyes. But Jesus was standing there. And I know that because I felt him. And I've seen him before. It wasn't nobody I'd never seen before. I've seen him shining through my parents. And it was unbelievable. I was like, whoa, that's Jesus. And the feeling, I cannot explain the feeling to you of undescribable joy and happiness. Just like pulsating out of your chest. And I'm laughing. And I'm crying. All at the same time. And I'm like now all of a sudden I'm like a little kid. I went from being an atheist to like, I know it all. Everybody believes in God is stupid and they're weak-minded. To this little kid that's like, woo-hoo-hoo-hoo! Like, I got nothing to worry about. I got God on my side now. You know, I met Jesus. So I'm walking around the room. And now, granted, my parents just kicked me out of the house like 5 hours ago. So I'm like, what do I do? Do I tell them? They're not going to believe me. They're not going to believe me. Do I call? Do I tell them? Or do I just prove it to them? Do I just prove it to them? Because I know I got nothing to worry about. You know, I met Jesus. I don't need nothing now. Nothing means anything. Clothes, things, none of it matters. If you got Jesus, that's all you need. Jesus is the best drug out there. And because it's real joy and real happiness. All drugs do is it's a false sense of happiness and joy. If you got it from the real source, there's nothing like it. Nothing like it in the world. And it's like a good analogy is, for me, you know, I was doing this one drug and I was hooked on it for a long time. And then I switched to another drug. And guess what? I never wanted that old drug again because this new drug was so much better. And that's what it's like with Jesus. When you meet Jesus, for real, when you really meet him, there's nothing in this world that compares to knowing Jesus. And it's like the saying, Jesus said, whoever loses his life will find it. Whoever finds his life will lose it. And that makes absolutely no sense to anybody until you meet Jesus. And then it's like, that's what he meant. That's what he meant. As soon as you let go of everything you want and of everything, all your desires and everything that you hold dear and everything that you're passionate about, and you let it go and you be like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You matter. Then he comes in and he sets you free. He sets you free from the chains that the whole human race is chained in. And it's called sin. It's the bondage of sin. And there's people out there that'll tell you that you can never stop sinning. That none of us can ever be perfect. And that's a lie. That's a lie. Because Jesus was perfect. And Jesus was the example for everybody. Jesus was the way. Jesus showed the way, told the truth, and he gave us life. Jesus is the person, the man, the human being that came to this earth and did not sin after he received the Holy Spirit at his baptism. He was perfect. He overcame the power of the devil by not sinning, because that's how the devil enslaves mankind, is with sin. All the way back in the beginning of the Bible, Genesis. Sin is what ruined everything. Sin is what separates us from God. So how then can you know Jesus and follow Jesus and continue to sin? The very next morning after I woke up, after I was born again, I had a bowl packed with weed. And I sat up in bed and I was looking at it. And now, granted, I didn't consider weed to be a drug. I don't know if any of you can associate that, but I didn't consider weed a drug. It was like alcohol to me. You had drugs and you had weed. And so I'm looking at it and I'm like, I really want to smoke that, you know? Got nothing better to do. So, and I'm fighting it. I'm like, I want to smoke it. But it was a fight. And I'm like, and this is exactly what I said. I was like, oh, stop. And I started puffing on the pipe. About 3/4 of the way through, all of a sudden, it came over me. Like overwhelming feeling I've never felt before in my life. When you get a revelation from God, and God showed me that there's two paths. There's only two. There's only two. There's a really, 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 really wide one, and there's a really, 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 really narrow one. And there's serving God and serving the devil. And God showed me by smoking that weed, that little sin that really not hurting nobody, it's a victimless crime, it don't bother nobody, was serving the devil. Because if you're following Jesus, it's very clear. Here's what he showed me. So even if you sin in the slightest, you are serving the devil. And Jesus says that's how you are to tell the followers of Jesus from the followers of the devil. By their fruit, by their deeds, by what they do. If that's what's supposed to set Christians apart from the world, is our deeds and our actions. That's why everybody got so angry at them. That's why they murdered them. That's why they killed them in every way imaginable, was because they were righteous. Just like Cain killed Abel in Genesis. Cain killed Abel because Abel was righteous and Cain was wicked. And after God showed me that, it became real clear to me. It became real clear to me. And the only reason I can stand here and tell you this today is because this is what Jesus has showed me. I didn't read it in a book. I didn't go to church and hear it in a sermon. This is what Jesus said. And now I go and I read it in the Bible. It's exactly what Jesus said. Jesus said if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off. Because it's better to enter into life with one hand than to be cast into hell with two. Anybody else will tell you, oh, Jesus really didn't mean that. The Jesus I met told me that smoking that weed was serving the devil. So he did mean it. He meant if your hand causes you to sin, it's better to cut it off. Because there's no other way. Sin leads to death. There's no way around it. And if you really met Jesus, like I have, and I know my parents have, there's one thing that comes clear. First and foremost thing that comes clear is that you cannot sin. Yes, we're going to struggle because it's a sanctification process. We're not bad one day and then completely and utterly perfect and holy the next day. No. But you hate sin. I used to love to go do drugs. I used to jump at the chance. I used to love to get drunk. You offer me a beer, be like, yeah, it'll be gone. Now, I don't want none of it because I don't need it. I don't need beer. I don't need drugs. I don't need cigarettes even because I got Jesus. Now my passion, what I love to do, what I want to do is serve Him. I want to go preach. I want to learn about Him. I love to pray. These are the things I love to do because I'm a child of God. Now, I wasn't. That's it.
Amen.